Okay, so today we will be reading Cinderella, a Fashionable Tale. So, there once was a young girl who lived with her cruel stepmother and 3 stepsisters. Because she was always covered in ashes, her stepsisters teased her and called her Cinderella. Her stepsisters would sit around eating cake while Cinderella washed the clothes, swept the floor, and did the dishes. While her stepsisters dressed in the finest clothes and slept in the softest beds, Cinderella dressed in rags and slept in a corner by the fireplace. One day, the prince invited everyone in town to a ball. But Cinderella's stepmother wouldn't allow her to attend. As the stepsisters chose their clothes for the ball, they laughed and said, "Can you imagine Cinderella at the ball in her clothes?" On the night of the ball, Cinderella's stepmother and stepsisters went off in a coach, leaving Cinderella to cry alone in her corner by the fire. When Cinderella's magical godfather heard her sobs, he immediately appeared and offered to help her. "Fetch me the biggest pumpkin from the garden," he said. When she brought it to him, he zapped it once with his wand, and it turned into a golden coach. "Now fetch me a fat mouse from the cellar," said the godfather. Cinderella did so, and she watched as he waved his wand over the mouse, turning it instantly into a coachman. "Now," said the godfather, "for your clothes." He tapped Cinderella twice with his wand, and her torn and dirty rags became one beautiful gown after another. At last, she chose one, and on her feet appeared a pair of crystal slippers. Her godfather sent Cinderella off in the coach, saying, "Don't forget to leave the ball by midnight. 1 minute longer, and everything, coach and driver, gown and shoes, will return to the way it was." When Cinderella arrived at the ball, the guests all stopped to gaze at her, assuming she was a beautiful princess. The prince spent the entire evening dancing with Cinderella, never guessing that she was a poor servant girl. Bong, bong. As the clock struck midnight, Cinderella ran from the ballroom, losing one of her crystal slippers on the way. When Cinderella arrived at the coach, it turned back into a pumpkin. The coachman turned back into a mouse, and she was once again dressed in rags. The prince tried to follow Cinderella out of the ball, but when he asked his footmen if they had seen a beautiful princess leave, they replied that no one had left but a poor servant girl. When her stepsisters returned from the ball, they told Cinderella all about the mysterious princess and the crystal slippers she had left behind. The next day, the prince issued a proclamation stating that he would marry the owner of the crystal slipper. The princess's assistants went from house to house, trying the crystal slipper on the feet of every woman and girl in the land. Cinderella's stepsisters tried on the crystal slipper, but it didn't fit any of them. "Perhaps it will fit me," said Cinderella. Her sisters said, "Of all the nerve, and don't be ridiculous." When the princess footman tried the shoe on Cinderella, and it fit perfectly, the stepsisters' jaws dropped. When Cinderella took the other crystal shoe out of her pocket and slipped it on as well, her stepsisters nearly fainted. The prince was delighted to find the rightful owner of the crystal slipper. He looked into Cinderella's eyes and at once recognized her as the beautiful princess he had danced with all evening at the ball. The prince immediately invited Cinderella to his castle, where they were married soon after. The end.